It's fall, and that means one thing, to me at least, apples. It's apple season, baby, my favorite time of year, so we're gonna look at 5 apple dishes from 5 countries so we can find out what to do with all of this produce that we're about to get.
Hi Beryl! Hi everyone! My name is Aleksandra and I live in Poland, Wrocław. So rice with apples is a very common Polish dish. We, Eastern Europeans, love to eat our carbs with fruit.
So for this recipe, I'm using Gala apples. They're sweeter, but not too sweet. And I think they're gonna give us the right flavor that we want for this apple rice pudding. Yum.
Fruit, so the dish is another example. In Poland, a lot of people still follow the tradition to not eat meat on Fridays.
So the recipe does not say to wash the rice, so I'm not gonna wash the rice. I feel like I'm gonna get yelled at in the comments, but the recipe does not say to wash the rice, and I'm following recipes on this show, so that's just what we're gonna do. Leave the rice as is. I think maybe the starch will be helpful, which is why we wanna keep the rice unwashed, but I'm not sure.
So the rice with apples is a staple in a lot of Polish households. It's beloved by kids. When it appears in school cafeteria, we always were so excited. The dish is very simple and cheap. I love it because it is super comforting, cheap and easy to make, and it reminds me of my childhood a lot. In Poland, everyone knows this dish. Either you love it or you hate it. It is served as a lunch, and just not many people like sweet lunches, but kids love it. So you can use any apples you want, because in Poland we have a lot of different kinds of apples and we just make the dish with the ones we have. You should try this dish to feel the essence of Slavic end of summer taste. It's very cheap, simple, and super comforting.
Messy, messy.
And I'm guessing you already have all the ingredients to try it. So just try it. Bye Beryl. Bye everyone.
This looks so delicious. I love rice pudding, so this is very much up my alley. Oh yeah. Ooh, the apples are so yummy. Wow. This feels pretty decadent. As a lunch, crazy. I would love this as a kid for lunch. The rice cooked up really well. It's really firm from the oven. So if you're not a fan of rice pudding, I still think that you would like this because the rice is acting more like bread, like a sweet bread with apples in the middle. Cinnamon and apples just go together so well. So comforting. Feels like fall in a bite because of the cinnamon and the sugar and the tartness of the apple. It all just feels so cozy. The creaminess of the rice pairs really well with the apples too because there's a little bit of a bite to the apples. They're not just mushy and soft. So the rice is soft with a little bit of crisp and the apples are soft with a little bit of bite. The textures aren't just soft, which is nice because if you think about like a rice pudding with a stewed apple, it could just feel like a soft dish, but it's not. This was really easy to make and surprisingly really easy to serve. I was worried when I was taking it out of the casserole dish that it was just gonna fall apart, but it didn't. It held its form really well. Ta-da! I was thinking we had way too many apples, but obviously not. This is a perfect dish for an apple episode because the apples, without a doubt, are the star of the dish. And the creamy rice is a great supporting actor. Together, they are just delicious. And it's a dish that I would highly recommend you guys try. I've got a little time to kill, so I'm gonna play a game, June's Journey, who is the sponsor of today's episode. June's Journey is a murder mystery game that takes place in the 1920s that you can play on your iPhone or iOS device and on PC games, and the puzzles really remind me of I Spy books back when we were younger, where you have to find hidden images in a really colorful setting. They do add a little bit of extra zing by putting a timer on screen, so you have to find things as quickly as you can, which is actually really exciting to do. Boom. Yes. The game has tons of levels, so there's a lot of gameplay ahead of you if you decide to play it. The game is turning 8 this year and it is their spookyversary. Ooh. There are tons of special events happening through the entire month of October. You can play an exclusive in-game event and get rare decorations to decorate your island with. The more you play, the more resources you get to transform your island into a haunted Halloween fantasy. June's Journey has given me a link and a QR code so that if you want to play the game, you can download it here.
Hello everyone, my name is Sanne and I live in the Netherlands. The dish I want to share with you is called Hete Bliksem. In English, it translates to hot lightning.
So for this recipe, I'm using a Granny Smith apple, which is a sour apple, and a Pink Lady apple, which is a sweeter apple. Together, they create one super apple. No. Hungry for apples?
Hete Bliksem is made of potatoes, onions and apples, all mashed together to make a creamy and delicious mash.
I'm cutting so many apples, I feel like a prep cook at a restaurant. Yes, chef. That would be pretty boring, I think, to just cut one thing all day. It's a hard, hard job to be in a kitchen professionally. So much respect for chefs. Ooh.
It's served with a side of rookworst, which is a sausage with a savory and smoky flavor. Although some people will also serve it with bacon or both. The dish is called Hete Bliksem because of how hot it stays. The apples in the dish contain lots of moisture, which make this dish stay warm for longer. The dish is made from around 1800s, and at that time it was very cheap and a very nutritious meal. In the dish we use two types of apples. A sour kind that gives a little tanginess to the dish, and a sweet kind of apple that gives the dish the sweet taste. Apples are often associated with sweet dishes, but in this dish it's a perfect balance between sweet and savory. The apple really is the star of the show in this dish because they make this dish unique. You should really try to make this dish because it's very easy to make and it has such a unique flavor. I hope you enjoy it. Bye!
I like this because it's mashed potato adjacent and I love mashed potatoes. I did an entire mashed potato episode in case you also love mashed potatoes. Oh yeah. That is good. The bacon is salty and nice, and then the apples have a little bit of sourness to them. The onions have bite. The potatoes are soft and creamy. This is delicious. I love the sweetness of the apple that comes through. Wow. This does really make me want a sausage. Like, I want to eat a sausage with this. I think that's the perfect dinner. The dish was super easy to make. The hardest part was all the prep. There was so much prep, so much chopping. I was exhausted by the end of it. These are big potatoes. Big potatoes. I feel like that's one of the biggest potatoes I've ever held. But then you just boil everything together, and it boiled for maybe like 25 minutes and everything got really soft. The onions are still whole, so when I mash them, the onions still have their shape to them, so there's a lot to chew when you're eating this, unlike mashed potatoes that you can kind of put in your mouth and just swallow. If you remove the bacon, this is a great vegetarian option, although I will say that I think that the saltiness and crunchiness of the bacon lends itself really well to the dish, so it's not just soft. I actually made vegetarian bacon on the show using rice paper in my bacon episode, which I will leave a link to in the description. It's a really interesting way to think about apples. I never thought about doing apples and potatoes and onions in a mash together. It's just never crossed my mind, but it works really well. And the combination of the sour and the sweet apples, it really works. It's fall, it's festive, it's appley, it's potatoey, it's delicious and very comforting.
Hi Beryl and hello everyone. My name is Amrutha. I am from Kerala, India. The dish I am going to talk to you all about today is called apple pulsheri or apple moriari.
For this recipe, we're gonna use Granny Smith green apples because they're a little tart, and we're looking for a sour apple for this recipe.
Moriari is made by combining beaten curd with a coconut paste, and then a tempering is poured over it that consists of coconut oil, mustard seeds, fenugreek seeds, and curry leaves. This moriari can be tweaked by adding any choice of vegetables or fruits. Popular choice of fruits that are added to a pulsheri are either mangoes, pineapples, or even apples.
So the recipe has red chili powder in it, and then it has dried red chilies in the tempering, and then it wanted 2 green chilies in this paste. But I'm a baby, so I'm only gonna do 1 green chili. It just feels like a lot of heat, and even though I know it's a yogurt dish, I think that I am not strong enough. Even though my spice tolerance has improved, we're just gonna do the 1 green chili. That's all I can do. You can't ask more from me.
When fruits are added to this gravy, it becomes a combination of both sweet and tanginess along with a tinge of spicy and savory. My brother Vishnu, whom I fondly call Payu, used to be a avid hater of this moriari until I made him taste this particular combination, and now he is quite a fan of this. I hope everyone gives this a try because it is a beautiful combination of so many flavors, and it will be a burst of all the flavors in your mouth, and I think everyone is going to enjoy it. It is Kerala's take on the kadhi, that is a popular Punjabi dish. So I hope you all enjoy this dish, and thank you so much.
I'm so interested in this dish because it's something entirely new to me. It's combining spicy and sweet and salty. I'm very curious. Ooh, hot. I don't think I've ever had anything like this in my entire life. It's coconutty from that coconut paste that I made, but the coconut is not a sweetened coconut. The apples, because they're green apples, are not very sweet. They're more on the tart side, but apples still have a bit of sweetness to them. We put brown sugar in this to help sweeten it up a little bit. The color I think is just beautiful. I love yellow curries out of India. I just visually, yum, 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 yum. It's really interesting because it's so different from anything I've ever had. I'm not sure my brain is totally computing it, but I'm liking it. I wish I had made rice with it. I was gonna make rice, and then I was feeling so tired this morning, and I was like, I'll make rice later, but like I should have made it now, but whatever. It is what it is. This would be really good with rice. I love the creaminess from the yogurt. You can taste the whole milk yogurt of it. It's got this like very rich texture to it. The curry leaves are adding a really nice flavor from tempering them in the coconut oil. There's a lot of coconut flavor going on in this, but none of it feels overly sweet coconutty, like sunscreen coconut, you know what I mean? I'm digging this. It's something totally different. I'd never heard of this dish before, did not know an apple curry like this existed, but India is a big, beautiful country with tons of culinary diversity, so I'm not surprised. That's a lie. I was surprised by the dish, but in retrospect, I'm not surprised.
Hello, my name is Yasmin. I'm from Egypt, and I want to introduce a very interesting dish to you, which is Toffaheya. Toffaheya literally means an apple meat stew. This recipe is found in a cookbook from the 14th century called Treasure Trove of the Benefits and Variety of the Table.
So for this recipe, we're using a green apple, and we don't have to peel it for once, which is very exciting because I personally love apple skin. I don't know how you all feel, but apple skin to me tastes really good. So I'm glad that we don't have to peel this green apple.
The cookbook is full of recipes that combine meat or chicken with different kinds of fruits mixed with sugar or honey, and also a lot of nuts and spices. A tradition that was popular back then in the medieval times and caught the attention of travelers.
Okay, so we're at the point where we're done chopping and now we have to start cooking it. And I just want to say, there is only one video on the internet about this dish and how to cook it, and it's not the most helpful video if you want to learn how to actually cook this dish. So what we have had to do is get a little bit creative with the recipe to figure out how to make it just by using things that we know about cooking. So grain of salt with what we end up with here, because this dish does not exist on the internet. So you'll be able to find it on my website and kind of my website only. Ugh, that makes me really nervous. Like very, very nervous. We're using the traditional Instapot that the people in medieval Egypt used to use to make their Toffaheya.
Some say it's a Central Asian influence because of the very successful trade in that age, but mainly it was a huge fascination with sugar and everything sweet. From the minute Egypt was introduced to the sugar plant in the 10th century, it fell in love with it. The sugar became a very precious and loved product as well as sheep, so it became an essential part of every house. Also, all the medical theories at that time recommended adding a bit of sweetness to everything in order to keep the body balance. But by the time the tomato came from the New World to the Old World, it slowly and gradually replaced the fruits in cooking stews, and it became just a forgotten history. I am really curious to try this dish one day, and I can tell that it will be a warm, comforting dish, especially when it's a bit chilly out there. Hope you enjoy it!
This dish was difficult because there really was nothing to go on, and Yasmin didn't have a recipe for us, so we had to kind of finagle our way through it. So I'm not sure where we netted out. Hopefully somewhere positive. Oh. So the meat is super tender. We did the pressure cooker right. Put it in there for 15 minutes with the beef stock. The filet is really good. The combination with the apple is really nice. It's tart and the meat is very savory. It's got like a pretty good combination of flavors going on. I like the mint. It's also bringing a lot of freshness into the dish, and the spices are very homey and like comforting. I'm not the biggest fan of beef, so is this a dish that I would make on my own? Probably not, but if you're somebody who likes beef, it was actually very simple to make and has a really kind of comforting feeling to it. The apple is really interesting here because it's doing a lot of work to lift and brighten the whole dish. I've never heard of beef and apples before. Maybe it's a common thing. Is beef and apples a common thing?
Not to me.
Yeah. Leia also doesn't really know about beef and apples, but it's a combination that I think works really well. And because we didn't cook them for too long, they're not too soft and soggy. There's still a really nice bite to them. So the softness of the meat paired with the kind of bitey softness of the apple, it's a good combination of textures. I love how ancient this recipe is, so ancient that it doesn't really exist online. People obviously are not really making this, but I think that they should. It's got a lot of great things going for it. It's interesting, it's bright, it's comforting. It's perfect for the fall and winter season. That is definitely for sure.
Hi Beryl, my name is Mildred. I was born in the US and I spent the majority of my childhood and adolescence in Mexico, but now I live in Chicago. The dish I want to share with you today is called Ensalada de Manzana, or apple salad in English. Ensalada de Manzana is a creamy and refreshing dish that consists of cubed red apple, canned pineapple, pecans, and a dressing of sour cream and a sweetener of choice. Every family has their own recipe, and some people might also add shredded carrots, grapes, or raisins. And where some might add cream cheese or yogurt for tanginess, my family's secret is to add a tablespoon of mayo. I personally like this dish because I've always liked cold foods and a variety of different textures, which you definitely get here since it's a chilled dessert, and the crunchy apples and pecans pair perfectly with the softer pineapple and the sweetness of it too.
We're using pecans in this. I don't know if I like pecans. They're not bad. I'm not the biggest nut person in general. These are okay. These are also unroasted and unsalted, so there's not that much going for them flavor-wise other than the nut flavor. Kind of reminds me of an ice cream sundae, for some reason. It's pretty good. Pecans are pretty good.
I would say this dish is common all across Mexico, but more specifically around Christmas time. In Mexico, families gather and have dinner together on Christmas Eve, while Christmas Day is more to relax and eat the leftovers. Ensalada de manzana is a must-have on the dinner table every year.
This is a brand new tub of mayonnaise, and as a mayonnaise connoisseur, I did a whole mayonnaise taste test in my mayonnaise episode. I'm gonna give it a try and just see where it falls in the mayonnaise category. Kind of vinegary, kind of sweet. It's okay. It's not my favorite mayonnaise. Trader Joe's mayonnaise, I'm gonna give a 6 out of 10. But it's not bad.
My family and I still make this dish even after coming to the US almost 8 years ago now. There's no one specific apple to use, but you will want a crunchy and sweet apple. Most commonly, Gala apples or Red Delicious apples are used. Apples are the star of the show because while every family has their own recipe and the toppings can be interchangeable, apples are the one constant and they are the ones who add that cool, crunchy, sweet texture. This is definitely a sweet dish as we consider it a dessert. But for someone with a really sweet tooth, it might not be that sweet as it has some tanginess and also is a little bit sour. It's really easy to put together. And if you like a dessert that isn't not too sweet, then this is the one for you.
This salad really reminds me of a Midwestern American style salad, so it's surprising to me that it's actually from Mexico. But I'm excited to try it because I love a crispy cold apple, and this has been in the fridge for over an hour. That's honestly really nice. The dressing, even though you might think it's heavy because it was sour cream and mayonnaise in there, is actually very light and just gives a little bit of a hint of creaminess to everything. This is not a heavily creamed salad. It tastes very vibrant. The maraschino cherries were optional. I happen to have some in my fridge left over from when I made halo halo like a year or two ago, 3 years ago. Maraschino cherries last forever. Anyway, I popped them on top. When I tried the pecans raw, pecans? Have I been saying it wrong? No. Leia's saying no.
Well, I say pecan. I think it's a north-south thing. I know, like.
What do you guys say, pecans or pecans? I don't know my nuts, so I'm probably wrong by calling them pecans. Anyway, the pecans are softer now and they've taken on a lot of the flavor of the dressing, so they're not just like raw nuts, and they taste a little bit better to me personally. I like them in combination with the crunchy cold apple. It's a nice pairing. The pineapple is lending a really nice acidic flavor to everything, kind of brightening it up a little bit. And I don't do that much with canned pineapple, although if you like canned pineapple and you want to try something a little eclectic, Beans Hawaii would definitely be up your alley. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description. Also, if you're like, oh, I'm going to try this, but then I'm going to have extra canned pineapple, you could make both dishes. I'm really pushing the canned pineapple recipes here. I don't think that you could get away with using just any apple for this. I do think you want to use a sweeter red apple, because if you used a green apple, it would just be too sour. You want that little bit of sweetness that apples can give. Apples are my favorite fruit, and this dish has really showcased the apple in a really great way. The creamy dressing has just added another unexpected twist. Another big thank you to June's Journey for sponsoring today's episode. Don't forget to download the game using the link in my description. I hope you were inspired this apple season to try one of these recipes. Let me know in the comments which one sounds most interesting. Don't forget that all the recipes are in the description and on my website, beryl.nyc. Until next week, I'm gonna leave you with a mango episode and a strawberry episode because it's fruit week, in my mind at least, and I will see you all later. I'll see you next week.